Glijtoon.
Recording start.
Oké, hoe is dat? Dankjewel.
I think that deserves an applause. Thank you, Anneke, for your courage. Anneke was in the safe hands of Dr. Franke, who is a specialized laryngologist. When I first read the word laryngologist, I had to go to Wikipedia to figure out what that means. But maybe more well known is the word ENT, ear, nose, and throat medical specialist. This is a differentiation within that field. And Dr. Franke is an expert in the voice box of that area of our body. And what he just did, he made a recording of the vocal box, the voice box, the vocal cords, I should say, of Anneke.
Well, where's that?
Welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you for bringing this impressive device and all your experience to share with us a little bit more about how this instrument inside our throat actually works. You started your career some time ago as a pediatric surgeon.
Well, I did some training.
Okay, and then later in time you specialized in this particular field. Can you just tell us, how do you make these vocal cords visible? How do you do this?
Well, what we have here on the screen, I can show you, is these are the vocal cords. This is where you see the arrow, the front of the throat. This is the back. And strangely, this is the right, and that is the left. And what we do is make an image of the vocal cords. And if you would do it right, you need to take 4,000 or 5,000 frames per second in a high-speed camera. We can't do it.
Sounds like a cartoon.
Well, we're going to make it a cartoon because we don't have a high-speed camera here. So what we do is look at the vocal cords here in this square, and we see the different phases of the vocal cord, opening and closing. And this is how, like cartoon-like, we can make a film, because the eye, if we push it rapidly, the eye looks at it as a film.
Yeah. What is it that activates the vocal cords? What happens there?
Well, what you see here actually are two muscles with mucosa on it, which is a gelatinous substance. And the vocal cords, they can get longer or smaller. And it's like a string. And like the contrabass, low, long string, low, or the violin, high. Yeah. And when you talk, you can vary the string, but that doesn't make the sound. The sound is made by the mucosa, the gelatinous part upon it, and you can see the mucosa here creating the waves. So actually, the muscle is still, and the waves are created by the mucosa on top of the vocal cord.
Right. Is that how, because one of the things I find intriguing when we listen to our first speakers, and in general, when we listen to someone speak to us, that females seem to have a higher pitch generally compared to male that seem to have a lower pitch.
Basically,
what
that's
makes
true.
Difference?
Basically, that's true. The male voice has a vocal cord of 1.75 to 2.5 centimeters. The female voice has 1.25 centimeters to 1.75. Basically, it relates to a pitch 85 to 180 in males and 160 to 250, 255 in females. So the pitch of females is a lot higher.
You make comparison with the bass, like a cello, like an instrument. So the longer the string, the lower the tone, right?
Yes, we can see it in replay. If you look at the vocal cords, you see, well, you hear the sound, and I'll keep the mic a little close. You see the vocal cord stretching and shortening while the sound changes.
It almost looks like an oyster.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful picture for me to look at.
You speak about it with a lot of passion. I mean, in the medical field, there's so many subjects you can choose from when you study medical science. What got you into this particular profession? What's your, can I say, passion about this particular area?
It's twofold, threefold. Firstly, it's easily visible.
Right.
That's one advantage. It's technical, which is me. But the third is that the voice is the mirror of the soul. And working with voice people who are, whether it's somebody at the phone or somebody in concert singing, it tells something about them, and it's great to help them when they have problems there.
You can feel it, right?
We can feel it, and it's so fun to help them to get back on the road again.
On that note, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for your explanations, sharing your knowledge here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Franke.
Thank you.
So it is not necessary anymore to do an examination on general anesthesia. So the patient gets his diagnosis much earlier than with the examination on a general anesthesia. The most important thing is what's in it for the patient. He had been irradiated for a cancer of the right vocal cord, and now he has a suspicious lesion on his right vocal cord. I performed endoscopy with the video system. And as you can see, the image quality is much better. And what you see now is that you don't see something, you see what the diagnosis is. Because when we go through the throat and we go onto the vocal cord, you see that the reddish lesions just are big red vessels, which you can see after radiation. So no suspicious lesion, no general anesthesia, no biopsy, no cancer, and a happy Mr. Smith.